Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So just a little recap about some of the races over the weekend. Here are some of my thoughts for some of the races, including looking at like the Champion Chase, which had a couple of horses stake their case for the Champion Chase. Let's start off though looking at a Potemps handicap hurdle at Sandown, which was won by Henri II. Probably the jockey might have been told off a little bit for how far he won by. He won by 18 lengths. That's going to go up right up in the handicap, and it's going to be very hard to place now. You know, they're probably going to have to run in the Cleve hurdle or something like that with Henri II now. The horse that I still think is interesting going forward is West of the Bridge, who I thought it was given a really bizarre ride. West of the Bridge, and who else went forward? Operation Mama, I think, or Operation Manor, who ended up pulling up. West of the Bridge at least finished the race, but they went far too fast at the front on the very soft ground. And for West of the Bridge, a horse who was a doubtful stayer, why on earth did they go forward? I mean, at Bangor, they went forward over 2 mile 3, or just shy of 2 mile 4. No, I get that. But for a horse that's a doubtful stayer and a horse that they'd even dropped back to 2 mile at the beginning of the season, you've got to be waiting. You've got to be more patient on that. That was a really disappointing ride from Harry Skelton, who should have been a lot more patient on West of the Bridge. And I think the horse would have gone a lot closer. You can actually see that it didn't trade that short in the run, 5.1. But yeah, I think he would have gone a lot better if he'd been given a better ride, knowing the conditions and knowing his doubtful stamina. Keep an eye out for him when he drops back in trip. I think there's going to be a race that they're going to be targeting. I don't know what it is. Could it be something like the Lanzarote Hurdle? Let's just load this one up. Lanzarote Hurdle, 52 grand at Kempton. I think this is on the same day as they're likely to have another winner. Maybe not. But yeah, maybe that's the race they're targeting. They've got him, you know, maybe the handicap will drop him back to 129 after that, and they might get in the Lanzarote Hurdle, which they did. Did they win it last year? Is JJ Riley from them? Yes, they did. They won it last year with JJ Riley. Maybe that is their horse this year. West of the Bridge for 52 grand. I'm definitely interested in him next time out because I think he will be given a better ride, or I think they'll just drop him back in trip and go forward, and then that'll be fine. I think I've already put it back. Drop back in trip to 2.5 mile, and he'll go well. Thoroughly recommend putting West of the Bridge in your Nagme. Moving on to the 150, the Henry VIII Novices Chase. So there's a couple of things that caught my eye in this race. First of all, I don't think any of these will be winning an Arkle. Despite Lodesud going in at second favourite, I think the likes of Ballyburn, Sergino when he goes over fences, In the Pocket, Firefox, Majborough, any of those go over fences, I think they will be better than Lodesud. That didn't really catch my imagination, that run from Lodesud. The other thing that really caught my eye, I said it didn't catch my eye, it didn't catch my imagination, but something that did catch my eye is they discussed this race afterwards, and they were saying how good Lodesud was at jumping. He wasn't. The metrics they were using to describe how good he was this lengths gained metric. But the problem is, Touch Me Not, Down Memory Lane and Soul Icon were all so poor that Lodesud looked good. If you have a horse that's absolutely ploughing through the fences, like Touch Me Not I think did, and yet you then have another horse that's still not doing a great shape and kind of going up and over but not as bad, they're getting positive marks on this lengths gained metric. And when you look at that after the race and you go, oh wow, look, he gained 10 lengths over the fences because the others were rubbish, not because he was good. So that metric doesn't make sense at all for me, and it's not one I would be recommending you keep an eye on and really pay much attention to. It doesn't work. It's all about how good it was in the race. If you can get a race where there are, 5 or 6 really good jumpers, then you might want to have a look at it. But otherwise, I think it's a complete waste of time. And in terms of this race, Lodesud, that didn't really impress me that much. So I wouldn't be rushing to back that in an Arkle. I wanted it running in handicap hurdles or handicap chases. I thought they could line up a big handicap with him. I'm not totally sure he's quite up to winning something like the Arkle against the likes of Ballyburn. He may well find another race in February, January, February, in the UK against British horses. I think he is the best of the British. Unless he takes on Sergino, then it would be a good race. But if we look back down the list, other than that, it's pretty much Ireland. Look, Ireland, 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 Ireland. Yeah, they're all in Ireland, aren't they? Lotus Sud may well be the best of the British alongside Sergino, but I don't think they're going to touch, as I said, Ballyburn, In the Pocket, Firefox, Marishborough when they all go over fences. Moving on to the Tingle Creek. Similar story here for me, to be honest. I was not impressed with John Bon. I know he won comfortably, and he won by 8 lengths, beating Colixios. Why beating Colixios have we given it, such good form? Colixios is average. No, he's not average. He's a good horse. But Colixios is not good enough to win something like a champion chase. He beat Marine Nationale, who I think was unfit. Third and fourth, Hercule de Soy and Lucid Dreams, both beaten in handicap since. And if we go back to Colixios' novice form, 5th of 10 in the Magnol Novices Chase at Aintree, that's not good enough. 8th of 10 in the Arkle. I mean, Gaelic Warrior, Founder 50, Il Était Temps, Matata, Hunter's Yarn, My Mate Mozzie, JPR1, all beat Colixios. Okay, JPR1, it reversed the form here, but we could still say that My Mate Mozzie, Hunter's Yarn, Matata, Il Était Temps, Founder 50, and Gaelic Warrior should all be in between John Bon and Colixios. If John Bon had beaten all of those, yes, we could say that John Bon is demonstrating that he's very good. I think he is very good. You don't get a horse that wins all of those grade ones without him being very good, but he's not as good as the Irish. I'm pretty confident of that, to be honest. And if we look at the Champion Chase betting, I think we've got it wrong. I'd have Gaelic Warrior favourite. I'd have Energumen second favourite. El Fabiolo possibly even third favourite if he were to run. Il Était Temps I'd have shorter. I'd have Founder 50 shorter. Yeah, I don't rate John Bon being that good at all. And the other thing we've got to remember about John Bon, he's actually been to the Cheltenham Festival twice. And he's been beaten on both occasions. He got beat 22 lengths by Constitution Hill. Okay, it was Constitution Hill. But he also got beat by El Fabiolo at Cheltenham in the champion, in the Arkle. And he got beat comfortably. Yeah, I don't believe that that's the right way around. I mean, if we're now saying that El Fabiolo couldn't go and win the champion chase because he doesn't jump well enough, how on earth did he beat John Bon then? Because John Bon, when he comes up against some really good horses, does find horses better than him. I mean, if we look back through his form, truly, he beat Boot Hill, a top-class handicapper. He beat El Fabiolo, granted, at Sandown in the Celebration Chase. El Fabiolo has demonstrated that he's not as quick at jumping anymore. At Aintree, he beat Conflated and Protectorat. None of these are top-class grade ones, in my opinion. He's beaten Edward Stone and Edward Stone and Edward Stone multiple times. He beat Captain Guinness at Sandown. Yeah, I think when we go over, when we have a champion chase and we get 3 or 4 in the race against him, we'll find that he's not quite good enough to win a champion chase. That's just my opinion, and yeah, I'm quite confident on that, to be honest. Moving on to the 335 at Sandown. This was the London National. I tell you what, this was a really poor ride. It was a poor ride on Montgomery. I thought the jockey looked knackered, and yet he didn't do anything the whole race. This was, as much as Venetia loves these types of races, soft ground, etc., I felt this race they might have been just get round, see if we stay the trip. He did stay the trip. He only got beat 6 1/4 lengths. I think if Charlie had asked for any sort of effort at all, he would have got a lot closer. I'm definitely interested in him next time out. He's definitely better than that. I still think he would have won the race if it had a Harry Skelton on, who, granted, he gets his timings wrong sometimes, including, as I said, on West of the Bridge, he went too early, and in another one I'm going to talk about one going too late. But Harry does at least throw everything at the horse towards the finish. Sam Twiston-Davies is the same. In a finish, he gets going, he's really animated, whereas Charlie Deutsch seemed to sit passive on Montgomery and try and coast him home. And that, even between the second last, I think he wasn't moving, and I'm like, well, is he going to pick up, or what's happening? We can even see that a little bit in the odds. He went 1.9 in the run. He went odds on in the run. And yet he never got that close to him. He just gently coasted round. Very strange ride on Montgomery. Definitely one for next time out. And I wonder whether next time out might be the Sussex National. It's over 3.5 mile at Plumpton. They generally get the soft ground there. It's early January, which would be perfect, a month's time. And yeah, I think that would be ideal for Montgomery to win and then go on to better things. I mean, prize money is relatively similar. It's a little bit less. It's probably going to be an easier race. It's only a 0 to 135. He's rated 127 at the moment. He'll probably stick on that after tomorrow. I don't think the handicap will adjust him. And yeah, I think Montgomery just wasn't given a very good ride at all. Moving on to the Sunday, we had a few races that were interesting, including the maiden hurdle won by Jasmine DeVoe. Jumped atrociously, though. Really, really poorly over fences. Would not be backing it for a Supreme or anything like that. I don't think Jasmine DeVoe jumped well enough. Moving on to the 252, a beginner's chase. Now, this beginner's chase, I think, will have some really nice horses come out of it. I think this will work out well. There'll be quite a few winners coming out of this. Il Eleft Antique probably demonstrated that he is the grade 1 horse over 2.5 mile. He pulled away from a good, useful bunch in behind. You can see some decent R figures. The horse that I'm definitely interested in later on in his career probably needs, just having it, needs one more run. No Flies on Him. Now, he was never put in the race by Mr. McDonough. Never put in the race one little bit, right out the back. Mark just sat there, didn't ask for any effort whatsoever, and finished a well-beaten 13th. Now, they did the same at Navan. Never really got involved. Another race where JP ran so many that you couldn't watch all of the JP horses. He ran 4 that day. He ran 4 at Navan. Waterford Whispers, 3 in a row. No Flies on Him. Duffy's Getaway. He ran 5 at Navan, splashing out also in the race. I think he's doing this to cover up some of these horses, and No Flies on Him is definitely the one I think is interesting. We've got to remember, he won a point-to-point a few years ago now, obviously, beating Django Bay and Willie the Builder. Now, Django Bay is rated 146 over hurdles, last seen finishing second in a Premier handicap behind Katira. Willie the Builder is now with Dan Skelton, is currently rated 130 over hurdles. Did disappoint last time out against Oaken Risk at Ascot. Now, No Flies on Him then went to Leopardstown and won a bumper, and I think it was a good bumper. Was it a bumper? No, it was a maiden hurdle, sorry. Beating DB Cooper and ascending. That's relatively good form. It's better form than what he's shown since. Well, he then went to Punchestown, finished second in a listed race behind Tully Hill, in front of Jagoro, Westport Cove, Bulldog, in front of a few decent-ish horses. Then went to Fairy House for a grade 2, finished 7th of 11, well beaten, and then I think they went, let's get him handicapped over fences. He's clearly a chaser. Pulled up on his next start, Punchestown, 2 very moderate runs at Navan over fences. I think he wants 3 miles. I think he wants he wants to stay over fences, and I think he wants a handicap mark. Keep an eye out for No Flies on Him when he goes handicapping. Let's put it in our Nagme. Handicapper. Create Nagme. I think they're going to pop up somewhere and win a nice handicap with No Flies on Him at a big price. I think he's going to be one of these gambles that suddenly they go, oh, now we're trying. Yeah, thought that was a very strange ride on him at Navan. Kelso was the Borders National where we had highlighted Your Own Story. Now, really weird thing about this is we'd highlighted Your Own Story ages ago, said this was the race for him, really happy with everything, suggested him as a bet the day before. He was only sixes the day before. He went off 14-1. Why on earth did he drift so badly? Was it that they don't think he wants this soft ground, or was it that they don't think he's ready? Wasn't quite right. He was fat. Was he blowing in the jig jogging around in the pre-parade or whatever? But the drift happened way before that, so I don't think it was anything that happened on course. I think it was to do with the ground. And yet he still ran a really good race. He finished second, beaten by Brittany, who made all. Your Own Story, you can see, traded at 2-1 in the run. I thought we were going to win it, actually, turning 2 to go. I thought Brittany surely isn't going to have enough left at the finish. Your Own Story's still travelling nicely on the bridle. Didn't win. I'll still be backing him next time, because I think there was clearly something amiss, or something wasn't quite right. The fact that he drifted out to 14s. A couple of races he could be aimed at. The Yorkshire Grand National, which is at Catterick over 3 mile 5 in early January. And then they could go on to the Edinburgh National at Musselburgh over just shy of 4 miles in early February. So there's a couple of races that they could go for. Yorkshire Grand National, win that, get in the Edinburgh National, aim for that. And I think they actually won it last year. They did with Inish Orr. Lucinda Russell did. They didn't win this one either as well, did they? No, they didn't have a runner in the Yorkshire Grand National. But yeah, I'm not giving up on Your Own Story at all. I know he's got a lot of seconds now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in his last 10 runs. That makes it 6 in his last 10, because that draw obviously drops out, that last one. Or 7 in his last 11. I don't think he's ungenuine or anything. I just don't think things have quite worked out for him just yet. But don't give up on Your Own Story. Moving on to the Hillyway Chase, won by Energumene. A little bit of criticism of the ride or the jump at the last. I don't think there was anything wrong, to be honest. He just ran down it slightly, and the jockey on Banbridge was just too close to him. Richie Deegan, he was just too close to a horse that had jumped down a few of them. Should have been aware of that. Energumene won, demonstrating that he is obviously the second string, or the second best potentially behind Gaelic Warrior. If they don't run Gaelic Warrior in the Champion Chase, they've at least got Energumene. He comfortably beat the rest. None of the others are Champion Chase horses. Dino Blue, Appreciate It, Blue Lord, Hunter's Yarn, Fernie Hollow, etc. won't be running in Champion Chases, or if they do, they won't be winning them. And finally, the last race I want to talk about is the Peterborough Chase, where I think Harry has got it badly wrong on Protectorat. Horse that stays further, he sat him out the back, he waited. I think he didn't give enough respect to Jello, and he thought Ginny's Destiny is my only danger. I'm going to track Ginny's Destiny the whole way. And when Jello skipped away and Ginny's Destiny didn't get after it, Harry was like, well, I've got to sit here now and wait. He waited too long. Yeah, he should have finished a lot closer, if not beaten Jello. Maybe he wouldn't have beaten him, but he should have been right up there challenging him and trying to use his stamina. This turned into a bit of a sprint down the straight. And yeah, he ran on nicely, but wasn't quick enough. I actually feel that second and third are the two to take out this race, though. Second, Protectorat, with the Ryanair in mind. He's a big price now. Where is he? Protectorat, 25s. The reason he's a big price, he didn't win last year going into it. If I just check on my other screen something. Let's have a look. He was beaten at Aintree, that's Cheltenham. He was beaten at Newbury. He was beaten at Lingfield. He was beaten at Cheltenham. And he was beaten at Haydock. Any more? Yeah, so he had 4 runs, beaten all 4 times before turning up at Cheltenham and winning at Cheltenham in the Ryanair. It doesn't totally bother me that he's got beat here. This just didn't suit. It didn't turn into a proper race for him. And yeah, I think he'll be better for it next time. And if we know he's better going left-handed, we know he's better at Cheltenham. I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine come Cheltenham. The second horse that I'm really interested in is Ginny's Destiny, on the basis that he's been beaten here over 2.5 mile. Now, For me, that should tell Paul Nicholls we are not going to win the Ryanair. In actual fact, let's have a look. Is he even in the betting anymore? Ginny's Destiny at 33s and 40s for the Ryanair. He is not going to win the Ryanair. He couldn't beat Protectorate. He couldn't beat Jello. There's Irish horses to throw in as well. The likes of El Fabiolo probably. Spillane's Tower probably. Il Était Temp. Banbridge. And others like Grey Dawning. Lompress if he drops down from the Gold Cup trip. Yeah, I think there's too many there that are going to beat him. And there's no point aiming him at the Ryanair. The race I would aim him at is the Plate, the handicap chase. Now, he's not actually got an entry in that. He's not actually got any prices for that at the moment. And I wouldn't want to be requesting one, because if you request a price, they give you less than what it should be. So if you requested Ginny's Destiny and they should price him up at 25s, they'll offer 14s, and then you never get bigger because everyone else just follows in with 14s. He got beat at Cheltenham in the Paddy Power, 3-1 favourite off a mark of 155, and then dropped £1 to 154. I honestly think he should have been running at Cheltenham in the handicap of the weekend, the December Gold Cup. But I wonder whether they've gone, let's try and win the handicap at the Cheltenham Festival in March, rather than the December Gold Cup. And if the handicapper drops him after that run, this run that he got beat at the weekend, yesterday, so we won't find out until the following Tuesday, so not tomorrow but the next Tuesday. If he drops him down, say just £1, 153, if you had the 153 about a horse who went off 3-1 favourite for a feature handicap, you would be very interested, wouldn't you? Yeah, I think Ginny's Destiny has to be rooted around the handicap now, and potentially even go for something, you know, silly. Aim for a grade 1 next time, run him in a grade 1, get him well beat, get him off the same mark, run in January somewhere, get beat, go straight to the festival in March, and I think they would go really close in the festival plate with Ginny's Destiny. So there's a few thoughts, just a very quick recap. West of the Bridge needs to drop in trip. Don't know why he was ridden so forward on over a trip he wasn't guaranteed to stay. Could go for the Lanzarote Hurdle at Kempton. I wouldn't be backing any of the Henry VIII novices in the Arkle. I don't think they're good enough. I wouldn't be backing John Bon in the Champion Chase. He beat Quilixios, but Quilixios hasn't beaten anything himself previously, so I don't know why we're raving about winning a easy Tingle Creek. Montgomery was given a poor ride. I thought it was a very soft ride from Charlie Deutsch. Never seemed to get after the horse. Maybe he was knackered, as in the jockey was. There's a couple of races like the Sussex National for him. Jasmine Devoe, I didn't think jumped well enough to be a champion Cheltenham Festival winner. Definitely interested in no flies on him when he goes handicapping over fences. Thought he was given a very soft ride out the back. Your Own Story, very strange drift, and yet he still ran a huge race. Next time out might be the time to catch him in the North Yorkshire Grand National. Energumene was always going to win the Haley Chase, even if Banbridge had stood up at the last. I don't think there was too much in that at the last, to be honest. And the two from the Peterborough Chase, Protectorat was given a poor ride. He should have been using his stamina more, and he hadn't won in his 4 runs over fences anyway when he came into the Ryanair. But the main one I think that I'd be most keen on is Ginny's Destiny if they target him at the Festival Plate.